Okay. Calling the January 18th, 2021 meeting to order. Will the librarian call the roll?
Thank you. Myers?
Here.
Freeman? I see you there, Ed.
I didn't hear you. Okay.
I'm here.
I was waiting on Ed. Ed, do you have audio capabilities?
There we go.
There you are. Hi, you're here. Miller?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
I
here.
forgot
Sweeney.
to turn the audio on.
Oh, that's okay. It happens. Sweeney?
Here. Here.
And Firstenau?
Here.
Volumes are
Okay.
on.
We have an agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Could I have a second?
I second.
Okay. Ed. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. We also have minutes from the July 20th, 2020 regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve the July 20th minutes?
I move to approve the minutes of the July 20th, 2020 meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Any objections? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. We'll go right to new business, which the first item is selection of a chair and vice chair. May I have a nomination for the position of chair?
Madam Chair, if you're willing, I'd like to nominate you to continue to be our chair.
Okay, thank you. Do I have to second each nomination, or do I receive all the nominations first?
You need-
could I need to have a second to
I
nomination?
second that.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for chair? Are there any objections to selecting Jane Firstenau as chair for 2021? Hearing none, I will remain the library board chair.
Thank you, Jane.
May I have a nomination for the position of vice chair?
I would like to nominate Edward for vice chair.
Could I have a second for nomination of Ed for vice chair?
I'll second that.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Are there any objections to selecting Edward as vice chair for 2021? Hearing none? Congratulations, Edward. You are vice chair of the library board for the next year. The next item of new business is recommended approval of updated circulation policy. You should have that in your packet with changes noted. Librarian, would you like to walk us through this? Oh, that's right. Is there a motion to recommend approval of the updated circulation policy?
I'll move to recommend to accept the updation, whatever I'm supposed to say. Okay, I
Right.
move to do that.
Right,
Okay.
we have to move before we can discuss. That's what I always forget. Could I have a
So moved.
second? I need a second to,
I second.
thank you, okay. Report from the librarian?
Thank you. So if you turn to page 7 of your packet, page 7 of 25, the main change that I made to this is that we just added some STEAM kits that our friends of the library were generous enough to donate to us. And we also added some laptops. So this is just to add in the language about the kits and the laptops. And I tried to just use the phrase kits in case we add something other than STEAM kits in the future. I could see adding some literacy kits, that kind of thing. So that is what has been added. The STEAM kits can check out for 1 week and be renewed once. And we would like the flexibility to change this in the future if needed. And then the laptops check out for 1 week and cannot be renewed. At this time, we only have 3 laptops, and there's been a high demand for them while we've been closed to the public. But as of today, we opened back up again. So we're going to kind of see if those are still in high demand before seeing if we can get some grant funds to get more laptops. So those are the main changes to that policy.
Are there any comments on the changes to the circulation policy?
Yes, I have one.
Oh,
On page
Okay, I
6,
see
under
that.
expired, inactivated, or deleted cards. Under expired cards that have not been used for 1 year become inactive. Patrons remain responsible for any outstanding fines and fees that were previously incurred. Does that still apply since we went fine-free in August?
That's a very good question. So it does only because some libraries in our consortium still charge fines. And then, for instance, if they were to lose a book, then we would still need to get payment for that book. It's a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The next question I have is right below it, is online-only accounts expire and are deleted after 90 days. And I went back and read online-only accounts on page 5. My question is, once they are deleted, can the user reapply for another online-only? How many times can that happen?
Right now, infinite. So
Okay,
that's managed through the state system. And so right now, yes, they can apply for that as many times as they want. And really, that's designed as kind of a temporary measure if we're closed and they can't, get in right away. And what we've been doing while we were closed for curbside is if people applied for an online card, but they really wanted a regular card, we were able to figure that out to get them a card through curbside.
Thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome. Good questions.
okay. I neglected to ask, are there any public comments? Members of the public like to comment on this policy? Okay, hearing none. Are there any additional board comments? Okay. If there's no further discussion, I'd like to call for the vote.
Myers,
Yes.
Brayman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Sweeney,
Yes.
Fairstenow.
Yes. The next item on the agenda, recommend approval of updated electronic equipment loan policy. Is there a motion to recommend approval of the updated electronic equipment loan policy?
So move.
Okay, I need a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Report from the librarian?
Yes, so first of all, sorry it looks a little more messy than it really needs to be. This is essentially just adding in language about the laptop. So there's a lot of stuff I took out about don't take this outside the building. And there was one thing I changed that says you can only check out one device at a time. In the past, we have allowed, for instance, judges for caring for the Kenai to borrow multiple devices for a day. So I could see us doing something like that in the future too. So I just took that out. It's up to library administration to determine whether we have enough laptops to lend out. And although they are drop-in spill proof, I put in here, we do prefer the laptops to come back to the service desk rather than being dropped in the book drop. And then on the second page, I'm just updating the lower end. We do have Kindle Fires that we circulate, and although when we first had those, they were super popular for a year, they haven't been as popular now, but we still have them. So the lowest one is about $100, so just making sure that we have that accurate in there. And the laptops we're circulating now are about $250 a piece.
Are there any public comments on this policy change? The subject is now open to discussion by the library board. Are there any board member comments? Oh, go ahead, Mary Lou.
How is the availability? I saw it crossed out under, I believe, number 5 or so. How is the availability determined as the user comes in to request that item?
So that one has more to do with if we have multiple devices available. So like I said, we're not sure right now that we're open, if people will still be wanting to bring home laptops since they have access to our desktops. So that's the main thing I would look at is, are they available? Have they been circulating? Before we closed to curbside and started circulating laptops out of the building, they hardly ever circulated inside the building. And so that was an easy call to make. So we would just have to see what happens if we have them on the shelf.
Okay. And I asked that, Rachel, in looking forward, needing more for the library as users want to check them out. Somehow having those available for the library and funding so that you may purchase more.
Yes, definitely. Yep, and we actually were looking into grant funding for it, but what we decided was let's use what we've got because we wanted to get them out quickly. And they were definitely very popular. So we're just going to keep our eye on that. And certainly those circulation statistics will make grant writing easier too.
Thank you.
Rachel, I'd like to ask, if the laptops are $250, which seems like a very reasonable cost for a laptop, what do you have that costs $1,400?
Those were the ones that the OWL program originally gave us that we started out our circulation program with. So that's the cost if we were to replace them. But those ones, they're honestly very old, so we weren't circulating them outside the building. We felt like that would be more of a challenge.
Okay, and I'd also like to comment on page 10, number 6. I think you crossed out too many words. Devices must be returned to the Soldotna Library Service. You still want a desk in there? Maybe?
Thanks. We can put that back in.
Yeah.
Like I said, it gets to be a bit of a mess with track changes sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Mary Lou?
Along with that, knowing that the service desk may change in the future, is there signage, Rachel, directing the user to where the service desk or to return that might be located?
When we circulate the laptops, it goes out with a little card that has that information on there. And
Okay.
of course, when we were doing curbside, it actually, now that I think about it, probably said return it through curbside services. So yes, it's an important
Thank you.
step. You're welcome.
Do we have any additional comments on the policy? If there's no further discussion, I'd like to call for the vote.
Myers,
Yes.
Brayman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Sweeney,
Yes.
and Fürstenau.
Yes. Next item on the agenda are reports. we have a librarian report for July through December of 2020.
So this is the part where if we were in person, I would just be talking and talking and talking. Since all of you have this in front of you, I'm going to try to summarize. I'm going to try to do a long story short instead of a short story long. If you see those highlighted parts, those are the ones that are more directly related to COVID. I considered making another timeline like last time, but I realized there would be so much that it would just get cluttered. So in July, on July 6th, we did return to our regular open hours, and we continued grab and go services, which is where we encourage patrons to stay no more than 30 minutes. So browsing rather than long-term studying. And the meeting spaces were closed, mostly because we needed to move staff into them for office space to keep us socially distant. We still had curbside services, but that did drop significantly. And we were approved to purchase some kind of exciting things. We got a self-checkout mobile app, a low-touch copy machine, and outdoor holds lockers, all through the CARES Act program. These were all mitigation measures to try to decrease the amount of face-to-face contact and, of course, people touching the same things over and over again. And we also contracted to get some safety glass around our service desk. In August, we got a $2,000 grant to help us become a registration site for health insurance. And we also, which you guys probably knew this already, but August 12th, the City Council voted unanimously in favor of going fine-free. So we started on August 13th, which was really exciting. And we did change our late notices a little bit just to make it easier for folks. On August 18th, we debuted as a polling site, and over 700 people voted. It went pretty well. And the city did officially close all meeting spaces through the end of December. And then we were going to reevaluate in November. And just a few other things. We added some soap dispensers, and we were able, as of September 30th, to once again send and receive holds from the Greater Alaska Library Catalog, which was very, very exciting. Our patrons missed that. We missed that. And we also installed some more temporary office spaces. And like I said, we did convert the conference rooms into office spaces too. And most of our filming takes place in the community room, and we also did move some of it to the basement, just depending on whether it's a story time or an adult program. In October, we did help distribute some heating assistance forms and business and resident cares grant forms. And our patrons are now able to save their checkout history, which is sort of a big deal. So we opted into that, and patrons have the option to do that. It's not an automatic thing. We also got our safety glass in, and we just something might be interesting for you guys to know, because of that safety glass taking so long to go in. We only have 2 workers on the front desk with no backup. During normal times, we really have to have a person backing us up at all times, but we found that visitation is pretty low, so we didn't need to do that. And we continued our mitigation plan. We also hosted election workers on the 6th, and it went pretty well. And also, Ryan and myself were asked to serve as committee members on the city's online storefront improvement grant projects. That's where businesses could apply to get funds to help them create a website for their business, which that was a really interesting thing to work with other city departments and other folks with. And we did host elections on November 3rd. It was really busy, and our staff did a really great job answering questions. We also got an electrostatic fogger that we have been using since then. And Patty became the one who was certified to help folks with healthcare.gov. Unfortunately, we closed down on the 13th, and so that didn't last long. However, she did an amazing job fielding calls over the phone. And what we found is a lot of people just needed to talk to somebody to figure out what they should be doing, just to get a little bit of direction, just to push in the right direction. So Patty did a great job with that. And it was determined that when we reopened, which was today, face coverings will be mandatory for anyone entering the building. We also began promoting and using our curbside app. So that app that we got permission to purchase back in July, they added a feature. So it started out as just a self-checkout app where you could use your phone to check out materials. And then they added a feature that was free and included. And it's really interesting. It reminds me of sort of ordering a pizza, where it tells the patron, we're getting your items are being checked out, they're on their way. So if you haven't tried it yet, come try it out. It's pretty fun. And also patrons could continue getting their online cards. And like I mentioned earlier, they can get physical cards if they want to check out physical items through curbside too. And in December, we were closed to the public for all of December, and we provided curbside services for all of December. We also were able to have a photo shoot to help. Well, there were a couple reasons. One was that our new holds locker was coming in, and we needed some artwork for that. And the second reason was we wanted to make it easier for folks coming back into the library when we reopen to kind of see in a friendly way what our new policies were. So if you come to the library, you'll see our sign that came from that photo shoot. And I think that everyone involved did a great job. So on to technology, we did lose Mango Languages and lynda.com this year. And we ordered our Kick Scanner, that's that low-touch copy machine. And State Library gave us a Zoom account, essentially, and it's a really nice one. It's the kind where we can do all the screen sharing in the breakout room, so we've been using that for our story times rather than WebEx. And we did order our holds lockers that finally came in. We ordered them in September. And also our IT department in early September added range extenders so that our Wi-Fi extends throughout the whole campus, as we've started calling it. So our whole lawn, all of the parking lot. And actually just today, somebody mentioned how much they appreciate that to me. So that's been really wonderful. And in October, we started running out of toner. So we had to go back to using our regular print management system. And we rolled out that self-checkout app that I mentioned called MeScan. And our projector in our community room stopped working, just completely gone. So our IT department was amazing and installed a new one very quickly. And then we also set up our Kick Scanner. We did have some unexpected issues with it, but once we got a new one in, it's really great. And it also allows for faxing, which is a service that we've been trying to get for years. So people were happy with that. And yes, and in November, we got that new one in. And we also got a no-touch self-checkout station for our children's area. And that's, again, with that MeScan app that we get our curbside and our self-checkout through. So this one, rather than having to touch buttons or use a barcode scanner, it has a built-in scanner. And we put it in the children's area thinking that would make it easier on parents to be able to just really quickly check out their books if they're trying to get out in a hurry. And in December, I just wanted to mention this. So we have some just amazing staff at the library, and one of them is our Paige Kindra, and she figured out a way to digitize our holds list, which I know sounds like a small thing, but while we're on curbside, that's our whole life. Like we're pulling hundreds of holds a day sometimes, or she is mostly. And so having to print out that holds list every hour was wasting a lot of paper. It just wasn't working out. And she figured out a way to digitize it and put it on our iPad. So I wanted to mention that. It was a really good improvement. And like we talked about, we started circulating laptops, and our outdoor holds lockers finally arrived, and we got our self-checkout stations installed. So a lot of different staffing things. Try to summarize. So basically people came back once we reopened, and then we did lose a few of our staff to moving. So Abby Schmola moved, and Amy Mitzel moved. And then Joe Watts, who was an on-call page, moved into one of their on-call clerk positions. And also, I'm going to skip ahead just because I can. We rehired Brittany Gilman, who used to work for us as a page. So she was hired for one of those on-call clerk positions also. And we did have a difficult time maintaining our regular hours. We had a lot of unexpected absences. Right now, of course, things that people may in the past have come to work, a mild headache or, a cough, runny nose. Now we absolutely are not coming to work, and sometimes it makes it a little challenging. And in November, we did have actually severe staffing shortages. So when we did close the building, it was partially because the governor had asked us to do so. That was very important. It was also because we really needed to do so. We just didn't have the staff to keep the doors open at that point. But through curbside, we were able to keep going until people rejoined us. Marlene Lewis also resigned because she is moving out of state. And you may remember her from her time on the board. And so we did post our 2 positions. They actually closed today, so here's hoping. We have a great team, and so it's always good to have new talent come on board. And so for collection management, we did get behind on our collection check, but I will say that Leslie, our youth services librarian, is really good at remembering to do that, so she's been doing a great job. We also had a kind of exciting project. For years, we've wanted to add little labels to our picture books to help people find them, because the way people browse picture books is not the same as the way they browse other parts of our collection. So they are alphabetized by author, and that's great, but really, parents will come in and say, I need a book about bedtime. I need a book about grief. I need a book about potty training. My kid really likes fire trucks. Where do I go? So Leslie finalized these plans to start labeling picture books with these broad categories. Some of them are like life events, bedtime, things that go, that kind of thing. And so that's an ongoing project, but she's got a good start on it. And so this will help both the kids and the parents, and also us if we're pulling books for story time. And we're going to keep them in the same place, so we're not, putting all of the bedtime books in one place. We're going to keep them alphabetized, but then they'll have the little colorful sticker that people can look for. And then Rihanna did a really good job updating and cleaning up our technical processing manual and folders as part of this whole process because we were already updating it. So we did have a few problems. We had some curbside pickup congestion, but our staff made it work. The main thing is we want the right patron to get the right items. And so if you ever came to the curbside, we had slots 1 and 2, but sometimes there were more people, or sometimes people, parked in a different place. But like I said, we made it work. And we did have some issues with one of our delivery vendors, with some of our items being left out. And so we were able to get in touch with them and work that out, luckily. It took a little while, though. And then we also had some people that were parking in the staff parking lot, which made it interesting. But once they found out that our Wi-Fi actually extended throughout the entire parking lot, and we were able to help them get onto the outside Wi-Fi, that made the whole process much smoother. And they were actually, I think, happy that we went and talked to them. And I should say we did have a few people using our outdoor Wi-Fi for online school for their school-aged children. So we know that made at least some of a difference during these interesting times. I know it seems odd to talk about summer reading in September, but we start planning for the next summer reading in September. And we are going to be doing Tales and Tales through the Collaborative Summer Library Program. And we're going to offer that online-only program through Beanstack again. And depending on what goes on locally, we may consider offering limited in-person adult programs, but that's to be determined. And we're excited that we should be able to really promote that program a lot better this year. So training, we have not been able to do many in-person trainings just because we're trying to stay safe, but we did resume our self-directed achievement program, which is a weekly training that staff decide on, and then they also have weekly mentoring sessions. And Joanna was also trained in as a clerk once, and she had been a page. I was able to attend the annual membership meeting for the Alaska Library Catalog, and our rates are going up a little bit, but that's okay. We're supporting our wonderful staff. And we also had some training on copy cataloging in September, and a really great training, how to deal with problem behaviors related to COVID-19, which focuses mainly on customer service. We actually reviewed that training prior to reopening today. Rihanna, Leslie, Linda, and myself attended the Association for Rural and Small Libraries online conference between September and October. It was really well done. And then Patty, of course, completed her training to become a certified application counselor for healthcare.org. And we did finish up we have these safety articles we read on back injury prevention, ergonomics, personal protective equipment, returning to work, and slip, fall, and trip prevention. So we finished those up. And we also had some training on copy cataloging and displays, and training on our new Kick scanner so we could show everybody how to use it. And then in addition, the city has us take harassment prevention and bloodborne pathogens training. So we made sure to get all of these in ahead of schedule. And I also did a know before email safety training, which I put this in here because it was actually very good. It's amazing the things that they're coming up with to trick us. So I don't know that I did a very good job of making that long story short, but I tried. I always say I'm going to, and then I'm like, oh no, you need to know this too. So as for the charts, I mean, it probably goes without saying our visitors are down, but if you look at the chart right below it of our circulation, that is actually pretty good, especially for the months that we were open. Despite having fewer visitors, our circulation is not down as much. So what that tells us is that even though people can't come in person all the time, we're doing an okay job of getting them those items and meeting our mission. So we're going to just keep that up. And same thing, programs dropped. It's a little more challenging to provide online programs. And this program attendance metric, we'll talk about more next time we meet. This is views, which we're not sure how accurate this is, and we're actually going to change the way we count this in the future. That being said, it looks like a lot of people are watching our programs online. And we did find that with adult programs and with the STEAM programs in particular, those ones, people tend to watch the whole thing all the way through. And then for the rest of it, I'm just going to let you all look at the infographics, and feel free if you have questions to ask now or follow up later. Thank you so much for your patience while I read through that whole thing.
Are there any questions on Rachel's report?
Just curious about December. 0 visitors. I know that's not accurate. So you just didn't have the accounts yet for December when you put this together?
No, actually, we were closed for all of December to the public.
So 0 visitors is correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, in theory, you could count curbside, but usually we go by the gate count. So yes, that
Okay.
is unfortunately correct.
Right. Okay.
So Rachel, what was the period that you were completely closed?
It was November 13th through today. Well, through last Friday. So
Right.
we opened today.
Okay, that was a long time.
Yes.
Okay, hearing no additional comments, do we have a Soldotna Library Friends representative online? Hearing none, we also don't have the city manager present for this meeting. Any public comments? Okay, I don't know that we have any members of the public online. Councilmember Carey, do you have some council comments for us?
Primarily, I'd want to say what a good job you guys are all doing, both the board and especially the library. You're one of those resources that people really let us know when you were closed. And again, the very good attempts and actualization of still providing services even when the building itself was closed. I came in early on the voting day, and when I got there were a number of us outside waiting, and it was kind of cold. And so there was an instant change in terms of the doors were open for us, and we came in, and the line, as it kept going, we went all around to the very, very back. And one of the people that came in after I was there told the group she was 101, and she didn't know if she could wait so long because she had to stand. And numerous people, and I was just one of them, lots of people instantly got a chair for her that would move, and again, let her come forward. It was just a wonderful thing of civil appreciation. This elderly person, again, just she wanted to vote, which was wonderful, and everything was set there. And as soon as we got a chair that we could move, it was just really nice. And so I want to say, one, got out of the cold because it was kind of cold that we got through the door, and again, the line all around. But Rachel, you and your staff do a wonderful job, and you are a huge asset to this community. I like reading through all the different reports that you do because they just make me so much more knowledgeable and give me a better sense of all the different areas in which you touch people, and especially, I'm going to say, young people. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Board member comments. If we could start with Mary Lou.
I reiterate so much of what Dave just said. I too was there on voting day, and it went so smoothly, and people who hadn't been seeing each other were visiting. But the impressive part, Rachel, again, to you and your staff, the fact that the staff carried on with what they needed to do, but they were there to answer any questions. So thank you for everything that you and your staff have been through and have done during this time.
Cheryl?
You know, reading over these reports it made me so aware of what a difficult time this was for you all, Rachel and the council. And, you know, I should have been aware, but I really wasn't. It's been an incredibly hard several months for all of you, and you've pulled it off amazingly well. And just to be congratulated for that. Yeah, you're alive and well.
Thank you, Cheryl. Ed?
Just a couple of quick comments. The safety glass that was installed looks so professional. It's just amazing. And I want to echo what the other board members have said. Rachel, you and your staff are doing a great job. And it's such good news to hear today that the library is open again. Thank you.
Gloria?
Yes, I too I am just so impressed how you have stuck to the mission of the library in such creative ways to be able to get the product out that the library provides and to be able to keep the community interactive when they couldn't be there. It was like, wow. I think you did awesome, Rachel. Thank you.
And I would like to say that I'm just really impressed with the initiative of your staff to come up with creative solutions and how unusual that is in a public library. We're usually quite happy if staff will do their jobs and do it cheerfully, but to go beyond and to really care about the customer experience by coming up with innovative ways to serve better is just exceptional. I also voted at the library, and I just thought it was ingenious that people had to wait by the cart with the used books for sale. And what a way to highlight library services than to have these things available. And I did appreciate the first time I voted, we were standing on the sidewalk outside the door, and I thought, oh my gosh, what's this going to be like in November? And you accommodated us, and that was a good experience. I also have to say that I didn't know that I would miss in-person browsing at the library, and found I cared enough, and a lot of other people did, to learn the new curbside pickup and to place my holds online. And, like a lot of things that have happened through our COVID-19 experience, I think it has improved the skills of the library users, that maybe now they are more aware of the catalog and how to place holds, and are all aware of how much they value these services. Then we won't take them for granted now that you're back open again. So thank you for all of your efforts.
Thanks, everyone.
Our next regular meeting of the Library Advisory Board will be April 19th, 2021 at 5:15 p.m. The format of the meeting will be determined by the COVID-19 risk levels for the Central Peninsula and will be noticed in the agenda for each meeting. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Could I have a second?
Second?
Okay, thank you very much. I think this has gone well.